A viewer recently sent me 3 vintage gimlets, so I guess I'm a gimlet collector now. This one has a tip like a wood screw and then a single cutting flute. This one also has a wood screw tip and then a more conventional spiral fluting. This last one is the one I want to work on. It looks like the bit spun in the handle. The bit does look like it's in good shape. The end of the bit felt like it had been peened over. I used a grinding stone in my Dremel to remove the mushrooming. I placed my trash can under the vise to catch the bit. And it missed the can. Oh well. Here's a close-up of the bit. I heated up the end and flattened it to make it more resistant to turning in the handle. Here's the end after I flattened it and cleaned it up a little with my 1x30 machine. I gave it an overnight soak in evaporust. And here it is after the evaporust. I drilled a hole in the end. I'm going to use this nail to pin it through the handle. I decided to make a new handle out of poplar. I cut out 2 pieces that, when sandwiched together, would make up the handle. I very carefully aligned the bit perpendicular to the handle half and traced around the end. I used a razor knife and a small sharpened screwdriver as a chisel to inlet the handle. So here's the handle and bit mocked up. The bit is only inletted into 1/2, so that downward pressure won't put a load on the seam. The pin retains the bit and resists torque. I glued the handle halves together with Titebond 3. I center drilled one end for the live center in my tiny lathe, and pilot drilled the other end for this mandrel. I've had trouble with this mandrel stripping out, so this time I epoxied it in place. My first step was to turn the square stock round. Next, I marked the center of the handle. Then I measured and marked the ends of the handle. This was my first try at a symmetric turning. I spent extra time measuring and marking the features on each end. I think I managed to get the turning pretty close to symmetric. I went over the bit with my coarse and medium conditioning belts, and then blued it with G96 gun blue. So here's what the vintage Gimlet looked like when I got it in the mail. And here it is now. I finished the handle in my favorite color, Bombay mahogany. I used Bob Smith 30-minute epoxy to glue the bit and the pin. If the resin half of your epoxy starts to harden up in the bottle, try soaking the bottles in hot water for a couple minutes. I like to mix the epoxy on blue tape. I leave it out to make sure the epoxy cured properly. This was another fun project. It gave me an opportunity to practice symmetric turning on my tiny lathe. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. All right, what do you say we give this thing a test drive? This is 1/4 inch thick poplar. A little tough to get started. All right, now it's going. There it goes. All right, feels like it's all the way through. Looks like it worked. I want to try it on some pine. This is 3/4 inch thick pine. Pine's a little bit softer, and that tip seemed to start a lot easier. Okay, I'm through the back. All right, I'm all the way through. Good. Well, it worked on that pine too.